Hi, folks. It's Larry Talks, season two. I've been off for a while. The date is May 4th, 2019. And I want to do a couple movie reviews to begin the second season of Larry Talks on YouTube. The first movie I want to review is Call Me By My Name. It's been out, it's already on HBO. So it's been out for a couple of years, I guess. This is 2019. It's about two men, 130 and 118 in Italy. Oh, a long time ago. For you. um, and it's about these two heterosexual men who have sex. And it's gotten a lot of good reviews. And I'm reviewing it because I think it's worth seeing. And I think it really has a powerful message that I think the director intended, but the writer didn't. So I must tell you, I think it really gives women a bad rap in the sense that it seems like it's back in the '60s, and you have two archaeologists who are married. No, the guy one is not. One is visiting another in Italy for the summer, and there's an 18-year-old boy who must be a nephew or something. Yeah, I'm sure he's the son of the archaeologist. And then this archaeologist comes to work during the summer, and the 18-year-old is in the background, and they are flirting all during the movie, but also having heterosexual sex. And the point of the film, or at least the writing, seems to be, I can't help but think of P-Flag. Well, it's just a phase and they'll get over it. And that's exactly what happens. These two guys um, flirt and have sex. And then at the end of the movie, the last two lines are, um, well, I'm getting married to a woman and in a month. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Like they're over it. They had a phase they went through. And the women throughout the film, just all their role is to feed these guys and pat them on the head. And the father says near the end of the film, he says, well, I wish I had the guts to do what you do, but I never did. Again, like it's just a phase you'll get over, and they do. That's one level. I taught, well, why am I doing a film review? Because I taught film. I actually did teach it in college. And so I had to learn something about genre and style and all that and history. So the treatment of women is that they're there to feed the men and pat them on the head. You know, it's that '50s view of women. It's a terrible view. But the other message of the film, because there's this kind of condescending view of homosexuality, which is contradicted by what actually happens between the two men. And this is why the film got such great reviews, because the sexual scenes in the film are so convincing that it isn't sex. These guys really passionately love each other, that they do love each other. And if it's possible to act that out and to convey that message, they do. And the last line of the guy that gets married, he's talking on the phone to the 18-year-old, and he says, I'll never forget. I will never forget. Call me by your name. That's the way the film ends. So, that wouldn't be convincing unless you saw the acting and to see these two guys. And to me, the message, which is not said, well, it is, but it isn't. It's acted. That there's can be a kind of connection between men that is true love, not it's sexual, but it goes beyond the sex. There is a kind of sex that can be love between men. And when that happens, wow. And I guess you would say the same thing between women. So you realize that it isn't just an idea of tolerating homosexual sex. It goes all the way back to Plato and Socrates, who said gay sex is, well, they didn't call it gay in those days because any man had a right to have sex with another man. It was just considered natural. If you wanted it, you did. And the older man's job was, they would Greeks would love this film. Uh, so the Greek idea is that there's something more. When two men love each other or two women, there is connection that has no other purpose beyond itself, and that makes it it makes it at least different, if not superior. It doesn't serve some other purpose. Its purpose is not to raise children and all of that. And certainly this film is very pro heterosexual. In fact, it says, oh, it's just a phase, they'll get over it. But the acting says something else. That's why the film is worth seeing. In the two-thirds of the film, oh, we're so heterosexual. Everything is heterosexual. That's all that matters. And then there's this area you enter in. Wow. And by the end of the film, when then the guy says to the other guy, "We'll never forget." What won't you forget? Well, sex comes and goes. There's something else you'll never forget. And it was this connection, which these actors really do a good job of making you feel the connection between these two men. That's why this film is, it was really surprised. The ending surprised me because as I saw it unfold, oh God, here's another condescending homo film, patting the little homos on the head. But it's not that, it's the opposite of that. And you have to see these two men interacting throughout the film, and when they have sex, and then in the end, uh, it's really, uh, I think, a message that I've never seen in a gay film, and why this film got so much acclaim by. Well, it's certainly safe for heterosexuals because it basically says, "Oh, these are just going through a phase." And then there's, as I say, this other level that really, really hits you if you just watch it. And that these two men are connected in a way that is not ordinary. And that's the punchline. There are two punchlines in the end of the film that say this. One, when the father says to the son, "Well, I wish I had the guts to do that, but I don't," to his 18-year-old son. And then when the older man says to the 18-year-old, "I'll never forget. I will never forget. Call me by your name." And there's just this kind of, oh, there's something here that doesn't meet the eye. That's something special. So that's why I recommend the film. And I would say it's the acting. It's the acting that makes, it's not the words, although those words are saying what what the actors say, but the acting is what communicates this sense of these two men are connected in a way that is most unusual. It's not just sexual, and makes it very, very interesting. And I must say, these guys did a great job in acting and conveyed a very important message, which is that, of course, is one that I've known for years, and it's not brought up very much in gay society. That there is this other level that's not about sex, it's about connection. And you can't compare it to anything else. That's the message of this film. And it's a good message. And anybody that ever experiences, no matter what their sexual orientation, has a wonderful, wonderful thing. Unfortunately, I do believe many people have experienced this. I certainly have. And but it's great to see a film be able to express that type of connection. Martin Buber called it I am thou. It can do. So that's all I have to say. If you want to comment, you could comment to Larry Moorman, Larry, Larry dot Moorman, Moorman, all lowercase, at AOL.com. I answer these emails. It might give me an idea. I mean, if you want to give me an idea of something you'd like to hear me talk about. But I don't talk about things I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of background in literature, philosophy, and I'm gay, so I have a clue. And I don't speak about things of course, I saw the film. That's important, isn't it? And I urge you to see it. It is now playing on HBO, by the way. I just saw it. All you have to do is see it once. I don't want to see it again. I mean, it's like just having the experience. It's so well done. Once the message is communicated, you don't need to hear it again. That's how powerful this film is. So this is our first 15-minute, what do we call it? I like to call them essays or editorials. Larry Talks, our second season. And the next one, I want to review another film. Michael Jackson's Leaving Neverland. Well, but it's not only about, it's, I think, a very fair film to Michael Jackson, and offers a different genre of dealing with documentaries, and does a very good job of interspersing a lot of historical footage to back up the film. It's a film done in March of 2019 on HBO, 2-hour documentary. And I highly recommend it. And I want to talk about it next time, but we'll see. I tried to upload it and they wouldn't let me upload it, but then I may have just had technical difficulties. But on the other hand, it may be that they won't allow me to do a review because there's a lawsuit. But the lawsuit's ridiculous. I mean, Jackson's family is suing the documentary because the boy testified in trial and got Jackson off in the early 90s. And then when he got to the age of 40, had a nervous breakdown and said, I've got to tell the truth. And he does, because the truth is more important than anything. And I think the documentary is very fair to Michael Jackson and to the facts. And I'll go into that when I do the review. I highly recommend it. I mean, again, it's a film experience, like one of those things that it's not like anything else you'll ever see. If you don't understand what child molestation is like for the person molested, you will when you've heard this guy talk for over an hour about his experiences. And that's all I want to say now. Okay, it is March 4th, 2019. And we are beginning our second season. So this is about our 13th episode of Larry Talks on YouTube. Thank you for all your responses and those wonderful people who have had enough faith in, it's obvious that I know what I'm talking about. I don't talk about things I don't have a lot of knowledge about and experience. So I hope to see you again sometime. Signing off. Let's see.